Welcome to the world's first Straight Talk Solarcast. This is your go-to podcast for answers about solar. Brought to you by Solar Harmonics in Northern California, who invite their customers to own their energy by purchasing a solar panel system for their home, business, or farm. Each episode, we discuss questions facing people making the decision to go solar. The solutions to your questions are given to you straight by one of the leading experts in the solar industry, Jamie Duran, president of Solar Harmonics. Feel free to search our library for answers to questions that you're facing when considering solar. And now, here's Adam Duran, our host with the questions, and Jamie Duran, our solar expert with Straight Talk Solarcast.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Adam.
How's everything in the land of solar this week?
It's warming up. People are getting excited because they're starting to get their first summer electricity bills and saying, "Hey, I thought PG&E wasn't increasing the rates." And yeah,
that's not the PG&E I know.
Well, it doesn't stop the usage, So if you use a lot of power, you're still going to get charged for that amount of power. And we're getting all the typical people who are buying electric cars now, and and needing all that and all the infrastructure that goes with that, and the people who traded in their Chevy Tahoe for a Tesla Model 3 or Model S, and then got their first electricity bill and said, "Hey, no one told me my bill was going to be $800." So we're working through all those. But the big news this week is data centers. Have you heard about that at all?
Yes, I have, of course.
Okay, I think everyone's heard about the data center that's going into Nevada, and they basically told the residents in South Lake Tahoe, there goes your power. So 50,000 Lake Tahoe residents by next May are going to have to find a different source of electricity. And that that seems
what?
to welcome legislation to me, but that's pretty much what's happening wherever data centers are being going. I heard about one in Kenya, actually, that they said if they turned it on, it was a Microsoft one, and if they let it start up and proceed as normal, it would use half of the country's power.
Wow.
Who are these people that just, let's, we don't have power anyway, but there's I just, even if you're a data center, how do you do that? And so, fascinating. But we have to come up with a plan. And we've talked about it many times, is that a data center should come in and buy solar and batteries for every one of the 50,000 Lake Tahoe residents that are being impacted. The problem is that Lake Tahoe is heavily shaded. There's thousands and thousands of trees. And so, we've done a couple solar projects up in that area, and they're okay, but they're not, people are not willing to cut back the trees. And so it makes it really tough. And especially the Lake Tahoe, this problem can't just be solved with solar and batteries unless they're also going to cut down, 3/4 of the trees up there that are around all the homes. But there's not a great answer for this. And I'm not really sure what these residents are going to do. What do you think they should do?
I think we have to start saying, if you're going to put in a data center, you also have to be putting in some form of power generation connected with it. So that way it'll benefit the data center and also the community around that data center. So they could benefit with lower electricity rates, for one. But if they don't start coupling those together, I think it's something like 50% of these data centers across the country are getting voted down. So that means if you're investing in one, right, then you have a 50-50 shot of actually taking it online. That is a big gamble, right? So for these multi-million-dollar projects. So coupling it at least with some kind of electricity generation would make it more palatable to the people around it. But if we don't address this, Jamie, this is a major, major concern for American growth in the next 5 years.
Even sooner, but because it says just for this one, by 2030, So this is just the beginning. So they're saying our starting out power is going to get rid of the power for 50,000 Lake Tahoe residents. But by 2030, they're going to be using 5,900 megawatts of power. And that you would need 5,900 meg. I mean, 1 megawatt is about 14,000 solar panels. So how much you could have math that?
Don't ask me. Don't know more math.
5,900. I mean, that's millions of solar panels, and millions of solar panels times 21 square feet, or even 24 square feet for this size solar panel would be pretty staggering. Pretty staggering the amount. I mean, it's really, you don't have enough land for all of these these data centers, for all the electricity that they're planning on using. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, it would certainly make sense to to really at least get the people who are voting on it are saying no way. But if they got free solar and free batteries, or paid for by the
right.
Then that would be kind of a good first step, I would think. I think so.
I think so too.
I don't know what the answer is other than that.
I think the answer is coupling it with some kind of energy production, and I don't think solar is going to be the answer. It could be coupled with their solution for energy production, but these things, they need a fusion reactor or something right next to them. I mean, they do, and that's
yeah.
I mean, you can get a mini reactor, like one of the modular ones that they're putting into production for these data centers, that it's just like a container ship size, or like a shipping container size little reactor. Well, the point being is they're modular, so the kind of the permitting process, it doesn't need to be done specifically every time for such a thing. But we as a nation, I don't think limiting our ability to have these data centers is a good idea.
So you think limiting or not limiting is a good idea?
I think we have to figure out a solution, because if we don't, these data centers, I mean, China does not care about any of this stuff, and their electric output is seriously dwarfing America's. And if we're an America first kind of country, then we have to think about our future in this industry, and we have to protect it.
Well, yeah, the AI and data centers is certainly not going anywhere. But if they have no place to put these massive power centers, then they got to find a place. And Mexican desert looks pretty good to me, but the infrastructure needed out there and the amount of power, it's just staggering. So I'm really not sure what's going to happen, but I think turning off the power for 50,000 people, maybe they didn't know that ahead of time. But certainly, I know when we're putting in, if you're building a new home, you have to go through a whole PG&E review process of how much power you're going to be drawing, what's the nearest substation, and what's the capacity there. If you're putting in a solar farm, same kind of thing. You need to make sure that the substation there does not need upgrades. And a lot of times, that's what kills a solar farm, is that that you're going to get a bill from the utility saying, okay, yeah, you can put in your solar farm, but it's going to be, $30 million to upgrade the substation. And people are like, what? What do you mean?
Whoa.
And so, yeah, it's pretty crazy, but it's even crazier that these data centers went in, or at least, have made a lot of progress and are now saying, oh yeah, we don't have enough capacity. It seems like and maybe technology will come and, like you said, create mini fusion reactors, and what could go wrong there? We might see some news about these, but I do know there's a company called Bloom Energy, and they do it's a chemical reaction that produces a lot of power out of a small box. But that is a potential solution. Another one is it's this engine, a cogen engine, and it runs on natural gas. And those produce a tremendous amount of power, but they also use a tremendous amount of natural gas too. So all of those and solar power makes a lot of sense. Really, it's nuts that the incentives for solar are being cut back. We still have the deadline, July 4th, for businesses that want to go solar, that they have to have committed and pay a 5% deposit on the project, or the 30% tax credit, or even up to 40% tax credit, is in somewhat jeopardy. And so we're reminding all of our customers now that, they sign between now and July 4th, and we're not trying to make this a July 4th, Toyota days or something like that, but it's a real thing. And so we're reminding our commercial clients that, this is not us. This is just how it worked out, or, what people wanted somehow. And so now here we are, and we're almost at the deadline. So solar is about to get either way more popular or way less popular until it gets way more popular again. So we will see how things progress. But it will be warm again. And now data centers, electric cars, heat pumps, everything. The demand on the grid is, if they thought it was bad a couple of years ago, I think they're going to be really surprised at what it's going to look like in the next couple of years. So something to consider. Maybe if you have solar, get more. If you have more, think about a battery, because if there's outages and things like that, then it's not going to be really that much fun. But to have your power go out and not have a plan for it. But we shall see. We shall see how it goes. That's all I have.
Boy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, we're going to wrap it up there.
Yep.
If you have a question for Jamie for an upcoming episode, you can go to our Facebook page, Straight Talk Solarcast. Give us a message through there, and Jamie will be sure to answer your question on an upcoming episode. If you have a friend who is considering going solar, this would be an excellent podcast to refer them to, because it will save them tons of money over the life of their system. Finally, if you have a question that you're just not sure, maybe we answered it before, you can go to our library of past episodes. It's at solarharmonics.com. Click on that podcast link at the top of the page, and you'll be taken to that library where you can search to your heart's content. Definitely, your answer is in there. Jamie's been doing this podcast for years and years. It's the first solar-only and unbiased resource on the internet today. So thank you very much, Jamie. Until next time, everyone. See you.
That's all for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of Straight Talk Solarcast with solar expert Jamie Duran. Join us each week for more answers to your solar questions. Speaking of questions, got some? Email us at solarcast@solarharmonics.com, and we'll be sure to give you an answer in an upcoming episode. This episode of Straight Talk Solarcast is brought to you by Solar Harmonics, the leading solar energy developer in Northern California, who invite you to own your energy. Visit them on the web at www.solarharmonics.com.